I made some video this week to do with making a small vocabulary list to practice with a foreign language, and I'm trying to get an LLM, artificial intelligence, to take those words and put them into a short story, and then I can study the story, um, translate it into a foreign language using AI, such as Google Translate, and then I can study the small vocabulary list within that story. This video is about me creating a fighting fantasy fictional story using the Grok LLM AI. Just going to do some finishing touches. I think the name of the story might be something like Iron Veil, but I'll think about that later. And I've produced a story. I've forced it to use language vocabulary because I want to practice a small word list in a foreign language, and I will translate this story into that foreign language. I tried making a story earlier today by using a small vocabulary word list and telling the LLM to use those words in the story, and it was a terrible story. So I decided to make a story shape and that way limit the bad storytelling habits of the LLM. My vocabulary list is here, and I had to remove the headings so that I just ended up with the vocabulary words themselves. Here we go, an adventure story template for an LLM AI. And prompt 1 is where I tell it about a hero called Mikester and how I want the story to be 1500 words or less. And I'm saying that if it cannot use all of the words, that's okay. But then later on, whatever words it doesn't use, I will try to make it use them anyway. I just don't want it to write a bad story because it's trying so hard to use my vocabulary list. Now this is a list of the words from earlier, but with some of the words taken out. I'll show you in a minute where I put the words that I took out. The prompt leading up to this list being given to Grok is me saying, when I'm ready to paste the text of the story in, I will prompt you. But please say OK when you are ready to receive the vocabulary list. After I paste the vocabulary list, I will continue with instructions for the story. It will then say OK. I can then paste in all of this vocabulary, and then I can do prompt 2. I want you to separate the vocabulary into 3 sets. Vocabulary list 1, vocabulary list 2, and vocabulary list 3. Show me the lists. Then prompt 3, I want you to create some concepts for the story. And I use letter codes such as L1 for a landscape, which might be a desert, it might be something else. And then L2 is the meeting place where the hero, Mikester, meets the person who gives him a job to do. And then there's a code M1 for the monster, P1 for the bad guy person, and then T for different objects like a magic item, a weapon, that sort of thing. And then I will now paste in more rules about word replacement needed in the text. And then, I said earlier that I took some words out of the main vocabulary list. I've got situations in the story where I will refer to these letter codes and a particular word that I've grabbed from the list will get used at that point. It's quite strange because you don't normally have internet in a swords and sorcery story. So yeah, I just need to have practice of my words. So I have to make exceptions to um, the normal rules of a genre. So I've actually got 7 of the vocabulary words for very specific uses. I will now paste in the story text. Please say OK when you are ready for it. And I've already told it that square brackets mean that I want it to do some text creation to describe what it is that I'm saying within my square brackets. And here V01 would be father, etc. And L2 is the meeting place. And it carries on like that. So we carry on, and then we get to the final scene where Mikester then travels out of the town and across landscape L1. And once that whole story is created, I would then like to use more prompts. Please list the vocabulary words which you used in the story, and then list any vocabulary words which you did not use in the story, and then please try to use those unused words in the story. This is just my imagination of how I think Grok would write a story, or another LLM like ChatGPT would write the story. So let's give it a go. Here's prompt 1. It's thinking, and it's saying OK. So now I take the vocabulary. Remember, it's pretty much all of the words that I created earlier today in my previous video that I uploaded today, but it's lacking the 7 or so words which we looked at further down. So paste in the vocabulary. OK, please provide the story outline. Oh, no, I've got to tell it some more things. Okay, so here are the 3 lists that it's made. So far, so good. And now I want you to create some concepts for the story. At the end of which I say, I will now paste in some more rules about word replacement needed in the text. Landscape, misty mountain range. Ooh, that's very good. Bustling market square. It's looking good. Monster, shadow drake. Ooh. I just hope that if I reuse this method, it chooses different monster, different location, etc. Crystal vial of mist. Sounds good. Okay. Prompt 4. So my vocabulary, and at the end of it I say my special vocabulary, and at the end of it I say I will now paste in the story text. Please say OK when you are ready for it. So it's getting very exciting now. So here's the real essence of the story for the Mikester Chronicles. So it's thinking about that, and then after it's finished, that's when I ask it to list the vocabulary which was used and was not used. Plus I have to remember that I took out these words which were part of the original vocabulary. So is it still writing? Still writing. I hope I was correct to choose a word count of about 1,500 words. I was just hopeful that it was a good estimate. It looks good. It looks good. So let's copy all of that. What I learned with Grok was that I should have said the intended age of the audience so that the vocabulary is not too complex for a beginner like me, and that the word count needed to be high enough for the vocabulary to actually fit into the story that gets made. And also I found that when I asked it to modify the story afterwards, I was trying to make some adjustments, it decided that because of the age of the reader that it was going to remove some of the more violent words. So yeah, you might need to do some extra work after it's made the story. Okay, I've learned a bit now, so I'm going to try something similar with ChatGPT. I want to write a story. Blah, 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 blah. It's ready to receive the vocabulary list. There you go. Great. You can now continue with your instructions. Well, it's making 3 vocabulary lists out of the 1 vocabulary list. Now it has to think up some creative places, creatures, objects. Very similar to what Grok was doing. Malgaroth the Bone Priest. He doesn't sound very nice. The Ember Fang Blade. That sounds good. The Whispering Mirror. Sounds interesting. And then here's my special word replacements. Or word replacement. That's the story outline. Mikester and the Whispering Mirror. Excellent. And then at the end of whatever it's doing there, I'm going to do what I did before, ask it to list the words which it used and the words which it did not use, and cheekily ask it to use the unused words. The next night, Meister crept into the blackened arch of the Roomspire Tower. Ah, no, look, it's saying V06. Ah, but it's also saying the sun. Great bronze door engraved with. So I'll have to go in and edit things like that, where it's using the vocabulary code as well as using the word that matches the vocabulary code. With gold in his pouch and the sun rising behind him, Mike still left the city. Well, that's brilliant. Which vocabulary did not get used? Well, got used and did not get used. Vocabulary words not used in the story. Ooh. Okay, and now here's the clever bit. Oh, it's already asking me, would you like me to revise the story to include the missing words? Well, let's tell it to edit the story. The AI became a bit confused when I tried to get it to use the missing words, so I'm going to start kind of fresh. I will paste in a story and you will, when you are ready, I will paste in a story. When you say OK, I will paste in vocabulary which I want you to add to that story. So, okay, I'm ready for the story and vocabulary you want to add. Please go ahead and paste them in. Please provide the vocabulary. Paste that in. Brilliant.